I'm Jennifer, born 3 minutes after my twin sister Rachel. We grew up in a white two-story house in Nashville's suburbs. To outsiders, we were a perfect middle-class family. Mom, Catherine, was a real estate agent, always in fancy suits, phone in hand. Dad, Marcus, ran an accounting office, lost in numbers. But inside that house, love wasn't fair. Rachel got everything, I got leftovers. When we were 4, Mom took us shopping. Rachel's bags were full, new Converse sneakers, shiny toys. I got discounted shoes, cheap dolls with thin hair. At birthday parties, we shared the day, but Rachel got the bigger cake slice, prettier gifts. I counted hugs once, Rachel got 11, I got 3, 2 from housekeepers. Her stroller was pink, musical, mine was gray, wheels stuck. I told myself I was imagining it, but the differences grew. Mom dressed Rachel in bright dresses, praising her smile. I wore hand-me-downs, ignored. Dad barely looked at me, always busy. I'd sit quietly, watching Rachel shine. She pointed at toys, and they were hers. If I asked, Mom's eyes turned cold. Not now, Jennifer. I learned to stay silent, but it hurt. I wanted to be seen, too. Rachel's room had shelves of limited edition Barbies. Mine had clearance bin toys. I'd play alone, pretending it didn't matter. But it did. I'd lie awake, wondering why they loved her more. Was it the 3 minutes? Was I not enough? Our house looked warm, but it felt cold to me. Mom's phone buzzed constantly, Dad's ledgers kept him distant. Rachel was their star. I was just there. By age 5, I noticed patterns. Rachel's wishes came true, new clothes, trips to the park. My wishes stayed quiet. I'd draw pictures, hoping Mom would hang them up. She'd smile at Rachel's messy scribbles, not mine. I started keeping my drawings under my bed. No one looked for them. The unfairness wasn't loud, but it was heavy, like a weight I carried every day. I loved our house's big windows, the way sunlight spilled in. But even that felt divided. Rachel got the sunny room, mine faced the neighbor's wall. I'd stare out, dreaming of a day I'd matter. I didn't know how, but I promised myself I'd find a way. The pain of being invisible was growing, and so was my need to prove I was more than Rachel's shadow. Those early years taught me something: if they wouldn't choose me, I'd have to choose myself. School started, and the unfairness followed us. In preschool, Mom dressed us in matching red plaid uniforms. I was excited, we looked the same. But on the steps, Mom held up her phone. Rachel, chin up, perfect. I stood behind, a blurry shadow in her photos. That set the pattern. Rachel got art classes, piano, dance, acting. I got, Jennifer, go home, do homework. I walked into our empty house every afternoon, cooked noodles, and studied. The clock ticked loudly, the only sound besides the washing machine. I asked once about art classes. Mom sighed. Not everyone's made for that. Focus on school. So I did. I worked hard, got perfect grades. But at dinner, Mom and Dad clapped for Rachel's smudged cat drawing, not my report card. By elementary school, I buried myself in books. Math quizzes? Perfect scores. Essays? Teachers read mine to the class. I joined a debate team, won matches. But at home, no one cared. I'd say, I got an A. Mom would nod, then ask, Rachel, how's dance? My fork would freeze. I learned to stay quiet. When we were 10, Mom talked about investing in the future. I listened, hoping it meant me. It didn't. Rachel got violin lessons, coding classes, debate clubs. I asked about a library writing group. Mom didn't look up from her phone. Money's tight. Days later, she bought Rachel a sparkly performance dress. I said nothing. Speaking up got me cold stares. I started a journal, hidden under my pillow. I wrote every hurt, Rachel's new shoes, Mom's sharp words, Dad's silence. It was my secret place to feel the pain. I wrote, if I disappeared, would they notice? The thought scared me, but it also pushed me. I studied harder, stayed late at the library. Teachers noticed. Mr. Brandt praised my history answers. Mississippi Lane gave me extra books. Their trust felt warm, like a hug I never got at home. Rachel noticed, too. She didn't like it. When my essay went on the board, she whispered to her friend, "Teachers feel sorry for her." Her pen tapped angrily when I was picked for a state competition. I ignored her, kept working. I wasn't competing with Rachel, I was building something for me. But the more I shone, the more she pushed back. She wanted the spotlight, even in school. Home was still cold. Dinners were Rachel's stage, her art, her lessons. I ate quietly, my achievements invisible. I'd go to my room, read, write, plan. The journal grew thick, but so did my resolve. I wasn't just studying to escape. I was studying to become someone way closer than a minute or two ago. The bigger the achievement, the smaller I felt at home. But I knew one thing, I'd make them see me, even if it took years. One night, when I was 10, everything changed. I crept downstairs for water after studying late. The house was quiet, but light spilled from the living room. I heard Dad's voice, low, tired. "Do we really need to try with both girls?" Mom sighed. "Jennifer's fine. She handles herself. Rachel needs us to shine." Dad's voice dropped. "If we only had Rachel, life would be easier." Mom paused. "She's good, but one would have been enough." I froze, heart squeezed tight. I bit my lip to stop tears. They wished I didn't exist. I ran to my room, grabbed my journal from under my pillow, and tore out every page. Each sheet hit the trash, ripping away my hope. I didn't cry or scream. I sat, staring at the ceiling. Glow-in-the-dark stars hung above. Rachel had 27, I had 13. Even my sky was unfair. That night, I changed. I stopped wanting Mom's pats or Dad's questions. I stopped trying to be seen. I studied for me, not them. I'd show them I was enough, but not for their love, for mine. The pain didn't vanish, but it fueled me. I'd build a life where I wasn't invisible. Next morning, I acted normal. Mom didn't notice my quietness. Rachel babbled about dance, Dad read his paper. I ate, went to school, and dove into books. The library became my home. I'd get there early, stay late, read beyond the textbooks. I practiced speeches, solved math problems others skipped. Teachers saw me. Mr. Brandt said, "You're going far, Jennifer." I held on to that. At home, nothing changed. Rachel's art hung on the fridge, my debate trophy sat in my room. I didn't care anymore. I wasn't their daughter, I was Jennifer, and I'd make my own way. The journal was gone, but its words lived in me. Every slight, every ignored moment, pushed me harder. I started noticing things. Mom's cold stares when I spoke. Dad's sighs when I asked for anything. Rachel's smug looks when she got new shoes. I stopped asking, stopped hoping. I'd earn everything myself. School was my battleground. I aced tests, led projects, won awards. Rachel hated it. She'd roll her eyes, say I was trying too hard. I didn't care. This was my fight. One day, I found a quote in a book, "You don't need their permission to shine." I wrote it on my notebook, read it daily. It was true. I didn't need Mom's smile or Dad's nod. I needed me. That night, I looked at the stars again. They didn't seem so unfair anymore. They were just stars, and I'd make my own sky. The house stayed cold, but I was warming up inside. I wasn't Rachel's shadow. I was Jennifer, and I was done waiting for them to see me. I'd make them look up one day, not because they loved me, but because I'd be too bright to ignore. By high school, I was a star in class, but still a ghost at home. I aced every test, led debates, wrote essays teachers praised. Mr. Brandt called my history answers insightful. Mississippi Lane made me discussion leader. I represented our school at state competitions, winning medals. But at dinner, Mom asked Rachel about art, not my awards. I stopped telling them. Rachel noticed my shine and didn't like it. When my essay went on the board, she muttered, "Teachers pity her." Her pen tapped angrily when I was praised. She'd argue with me in debates, her points weak but loud. I stayed calm, let my work speak. The more I succeeded, the angrier she got. One day, Rachel wasn't in class. Kids whispered. Mississippi Lane pulled me aside. "Your mom's in the principal's office." Rachel said teachers favor you to make her feel small. I wasn't shocked. Rachel always twisted things. I peeked through the office window. Mom, in a sharp dress, waved papers, voice loud. "Jennifer just studies. She's not a leader." This hurts Rachel. The principal stayed calm. "Jennifer tops 4 subjects. Her teachers agree, she's exceptional." Mom scoffed. "Grades aren't everything. You're biased." I slipped away before she saw me. Something went cold inside. Even my success was a problem. That night, I heard Mom and Rachel laughing in her room, like I didn't exist. I went to bed, staring at my medals. They weren't for Mom, they were for me. Next day, Mr. Brandt found an envelope on his desk, probably Mom's complaint. He spoke to me. "Jennifer, don't let noise stop you. You've earned this." I nodded. "I won't." I opened my notebook, saw my quote, "You don't need their permission to shine." I wrote another, "I choose myself." It became my mantra. I worked harder. Library mornings, late-night notes, practice tests. I joined the academic team, led discussions, won more awards. Teachers trusted me. Classmates asked for help. Rachel's friends stopped laughing at her jabs. She'd glare, but I didn't care. I wasn't fighting her, I was building me. At home, Rachel's trophies lined the shelves. Mine stayed in my room. Mom planned Rachel's college tours, I researched scholarships alone. Dad paid for Rachel's dance gear, not my debate fees. I stopped asking. I'd make it without them. Every A, every medal, was a brick in my foundation. I was rising, not for their eyes, but for mine. One day, Mississippi Lane said, "Jennifer, you're Columbia material." I smiled, heart racing. Columbia. New York. A new life. I started dreaming, planning. Rachel could have the spotlight. I wanted freedom. The house stayed the same, Rachel's laughter, Mom's phone, Dad's silence. But I was different. I wasn't invisible anymore, not to myself. I was Jennifer, and I was enough. At 16, I got a part-time job at Sugar Bloom, a cozy bakery 3 blocks from home. The walls were cream, the air smelled of cookies. Martha, the owner, wore silk scarves and warm smiles. I didn't tell Mom, she'd say it was low class. To me, it was freedom. I wore a pink apron, tied my hair, and worked. Rachel saw me leave and smirked. "Waitress? Don't spill cake." I ignored her. This was my step out of her shadow. I saved every paycheck, buying books I loved, history, novels, law. One night, in Mom's office, I knocked over folders. A brown notebook fell out, labeled emergency contacts. Inside, I found Clara and Henry Whitmore, no contact, blocked, with an address in South Nashville. Whitmore was Mom's maiden name. Grandparents? Why didn't I know them? I couldn't stop thinking about it. Next day, while Mom and Rachel were at a spa, I took bus 14 to the address. It was a sky-blue house, white fence, yellow daisies blooming. It felt alive, unlike our cold home. I hesitated, then knocked. A small woman with silver hair opened the door. Her eyes widened. "Who are you?" I swallowed. I'm Jennifer Harper. I think, you're my grandmother? She gasped, hand to her mouth. A man with white hair and glasses appeared, nearly dropping his tea. Clara, it's her, our granddaughter. They pulled me inside, hugging me tight. The house was warm, walls covered in drawings, photos. Apple pie scented the air. They sat me down, poured tea, asked questions. They knew me but hadn't seen me. After your mom married, she said we were too old-fashioned, Grandpa Henry said. She cut us off. We called, wrote, nothing. Grandma Clara's eyes were red. We dreamed of taking you to the zoo, baking with you. I couldn't speak. I'd only learned their names yesterday. I stayed till evening, washing dishes with Clara, listening to Henry's stories. They gave me an envelope, bus fare and a note, "You're always welcome." On the bus home, I held it tight. For the first time I felt I belonged. Not because I earned it, but because they saw me, Jennifer, not Rachel's sister. Back home, Rachel was on her phone, Mom planning her next class. They didn't ask where I'd been. I didn't care. The bakery gave me money, the notebook gave me family. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was building a life. Clara and Henry were my secret, my strength. I'd visit again, learn their stories, find my place. The house was still cold, but I was warming up. I had a job, a plan, and now, a family who chose me. I visited Clara and Henry every weekend. Their sky blue house was my escape. Clara baked pies, her silver hair in a bun. Henry told stories of his engineering days, glasses slipping down his nose. The walls held photos of them young, smiling, and empty frames where my picture should have been. They hugged me like I'd always been there. They asked about my life. I told them about school, the bakery, my grades. They listened, eyes bright. You're brilliant, Clara said. Henry nodded. You're going places. No one had ever said that. At home, Mom ignored my A's, Rachel got applause for dance. Here, I was enough. Clara showed me old albums. This was Catherine, your mom, she said, pointing to a girl with my eyes. She wanted a big life, left us behind. Henry sighed. We tried to reach her, but she blocked us. I saw pain in their faces, like mine. Mom had cut them off, just like she'd cut me out. We baked cookies, laughed, played cards. Clara taught me her pie recipe, Henry showed me his toolbox. They gave me a key to the house. Your family, Clara said. I held it tight, heart full. I'd never had a place like this. Our house was big, but empty. Theirs was small, but alive. One day, Clara asked about Rachel. I paused. She's Mom's favorite. Always has been. They exchanged looks. Henry took my hand. You're special, Jennifer. Don't let them dim you. Clara nodded. We see you. Tears came, but I smiled. They saw me, not my grades, not my work, just me. I told them about Columbia, my dream school. I'm applying for scholarships, I said. Henry grinned. You'll get it. You're a fighter. Clara hugged me. We'll be cheering. I felt stronger, like their love was a shield. At home, I was invisible. Here, I was a star. Before I left, they gave me a photo, us three, smiling in their yard. For your dorm, Clara said. I kept it in my bag, a reminder of where I belonged. The bus ride home felt lighter. Rachel was painting her nails, Mom was on her phone. They didn't ask about my day. I didn't care. I started dreaming bigger. Columbia, law, a life where I chose my path. Clara and Henry gave me more than love, they gave me roots. I wasn't just surviving Mom's neglect or Rachel's shadow. I was growing, blooming like their daisies. The house stayed cold, but I carried their warmth inside. I had a family now, one that didn't weigh my worth against Rachel's. They chose me, and I chose them. For the first time I knew what home felt like, and I'd never let it go. Graduation day came fast. I stood in West Haven High's auditorium, navy blue gown, heart pounding. The announcer called my name, Jennifer Harper, valedictorian, class of 2024. Applause roared, but Mom was on her phone. Dad chatted with Rachel, who sighed like I'd stolen her moment. I took the podium, gave my speech, voice steady. Inside, I felt empty. No party waited at home. No balloons, no cake. Just fish and salad. Mom told Rachel to avoid fries for her college figure. Dad grumbled about work. My valedictorian plaque sat in my room unnoticed. Then Mom smiled. Jennifer, good news. I froze, hoping. We're going to Hawaii, 5 days in Maui for Rachel's graduation. Rachel smirked. 3 tickets, Mom added. You'll stay, work at the bakery. You're strong. I nodded, went upstairs, watched their SUV leave. Rachel waved, promising beach pics. I called Clara. They left me, I choked, tears falling. Come over, she said. We're celebrating you. I drove to their house. Blue and white ribbons hung, balloons swayed. A chocolate cake read, Congratulations, Jennifer, our valedictorian. We ate lasagna, fruit salad, laughed. Grandpa Henry set a black box on the table. You've done something huge, he said. Inside was a car key, engraved, always believe in your path. I gasped. Outside, a white Audi Q3 gleamed, new, mine. Your graduation gift, Clara said. We planned it for months. I hugged them, crying, not from pain, but joy. They saw me. We took photos, danced to old music. Henry told engineer stories, Clara shared pie tips. I felt whole, like their love filled every empty spot Mom and Dad left. The Audi was more than a car, it was freedom, trust, love. I drove home late, the keychain in my hand, heart full. Next day, I parked the Audi in our driveway. Rachel's old car looked dull beside it. I smiled, knowing what was coming. Mom and Dad would be back soon, and they'd see it. They'd see me. Not because I begged, but because I'd earned it. Clara and Henry gave me what my parents never did, a reason to believe in myself. I went inside, packed my debate medals, my books. Columbia was next. I'd applied in secret, got a full scholarship, tuition, housing, everything. Mom didn't know. She didn't need to. I wasn't her daughter anymore. I was Jennifer, valedictorian, granddaughter, dreamer. The house was quiet, but I wasn't alone. Clara and Henry's photo sat on my desk, their smiles my strength. Graduation wasn't the end, it was my beginning, and I was ready to shine. The days after graduation were warm, peaceful. I drove my Audi to Sugar Bloom, bringing cookies for Clara and Henry. Evenings, I helped Clara cook, Henry read his paper, sharing old stories. Their house was my home, no conditions, no comparisons. The Audi parked outside, a quiet sign of their love, something Mom and Dad never gave. One afternoon, Clara sat me down. We need to tell you something. Henry nodded. We're not just retired. Years ago, we invested in tech companies. Did well. We've got savings, property. I blinked. They'd seemed so modest. We're making you our heir, Clara said. Everything, house, accounts, investments, goes to you. I froze. Why me? Henry smiled. You value family. You found us, chose us. Rachel, she's your mom's daughter. You're ours. Clara held my hand. You deserve it. Tears fell. I'd spent years proving myself, but they loved me without proof. It was more than money, it was trust, a future. I drove home, mind spinning. The Audi felt heavier, like it carried their faith. At our house, I parked it proudly. Rachel's car was gone, she was probably shopping. I packed more, ready for Colombia. My scholarship covered everything, but Clara and Henry's gift meant freedom. I could breathe, dream, live. A week later, I got a call from Clara. Your mom visited. Brought a fruit basket, apologies. I tensed. What did they want? Clara's voice was calm. Rachel's struggling with tuition. They asked for help. I clenched my fist. What did you say? Henry spoke up. We said no. Our money's for you, Jennifer. They left, mad. I exhaled, grateful. They'd chosen me, like I'd chosen them. I looked at my packed bags, the Audi key. I wasn't just leaving, I was starting over. Columbia was 3 weeks away. I'd study law, social policy, build a life. The house felt smaller, like it couldn't hold me anymore. That night, I sat on my bed, holding Clara's photo. Their smiles were my anchor. Mom's texts started, guilt trips about family. I ignored them. Rachel posted Hawaii pics, all smiles. I didn't care. I had my family, my path. The Audi was my ticket out, but Clara and Henry were my wings. I wrote in my new journal, I'm enough. They didn't choose me, but I did. The words felt true. I wasn't Rachel's shadow or Mom's burden. I was Jennifer, heir to love, not pain. The future was mine, not handed, but earned. I closed the journal, looked at the Audi outside. It wasn't just a car, it was freedom, and I was ready to drive. A mild Friday afternoon, I read on the porch, chamomile tea in hand. Mom's SUV pulled in. She stepped out in a purple dress, Dad in sunglasses, Rachel in designer clothes, dragging her suitcase. Mom froze, staring at the Audi. Rachel squinted. Whose car? Dad walked closer. Jennifer, that's over 40 grand. I stood, twirling the key. Graduation gift from Grandma Clara and Grandpa Henry. Silence. Mom's face paled, fingers flying to her phone. Clara, explain this. Grandma's voice came, calm. Did you enjoy Hawaii? Mom snapped, you bought her a car? Rachel needs one. Grandpa cut in. Fairness comes with love, Catherine. You never gave Jennifer that. She's our heir, everything's hers. Mom's phone shook. Rachel's eyes widened. Dad muttered, you hadn't spoken to them in years. Mom turned to me, voice sharp. Jennifer, Rachel needs that car for college. You're just at a bakery. I stepped forward, opened the trunk, suitcases, laptop, ready. I handed Mom an envelope. My Columbia acceptance. Full scholarship. I'm leaving. Mom blinked. Columbia? New York? Dad frowned. Why didn't you say? I shrugged. You'd say it's not for me. Rachel scoffed. You'll take that car to New York? To show off? I closed the trunk. You won't see it. I'm not coming back. Mom softened, fake. Jennifer, we love you. Families favor sometimes. I shook my head. Love isn't one-sided. I'm done. Dad touched the car. Drive away, you're on your own. I met his eyes. I've always been. Now I'm free. Rachel smirked, but it wobbled. Mom stared at the driveway, silent. Dad called, Jennifer, if you're overwhelmed. I'll be okay, I said, nodding. I slid into the Audi, started the engine. In the rear view, they stood, smaller, fading. Mom's arms crossed, Rachel's phone down, Dad still. I pressed the gas, the car rolled out. The house shrank, a past I didn't need. I wasn't running, I was choosing me. The road stretched ahead, Nashville's trees blurring. Clara and Henry followed in their sedan, my safety net. I smiled, tears falling. Not from pain, but freedom. Columbia waited, law, friends, a life I'd build. Mom's texts would come, Rachel's posts would fade. I didn't care. I had Clara's keychain, always believe in your path. I believed. The SUV was gone now, just a memory. I turned up the radio, let the wind in. The city skyline glowed faint, a promise. I wasn't Rachel's sister, Mom's burden, Dad's afterthought. I was Jennifer, and this was my road. No conditions, no shadows. Just me, driving toward a life I'd make shine. New York hit me like a wave. Columbia's campus buzzed, students, books, dreams. I moved into my dorm, Clara's photo on my desk. Classes were tough, professors sharp, but I thrived. Law and social policy felt right, like my future. I worked part-time at a Brooklyn bookstore, old pages, and door chimes my peace. No shadows here, just Jennifer. I made friends. Leah, an Egyptian-American journalism major, loved late-night talks. Ethan, an economics student from Oregon, shared pizza and city dreams. We studied at Butler Library, laughed on dorm balconies, watched lights sparkle. They valued me, not as Rachel's sister, but as me. I didn't need to prove anything. Clara called one day. Your mom came again. More apologies, asking for money. I sighed. What did you say? She laughed. You're our heir. House, savings, everything's yours. I sat in my dorm, sunlight on my books. You sure? Clara's voice was firm. You deserve it. You never treated us like a burden. Mom texted 2 days later, we're family, right? Her old tone, pulling strings. I wasn't angry, just done. I blocked her, no hesitation. Rachel's Instagram showed college parties, new clothes. I didn't care. My life was here, Lee's jokes, Ethan's coffee invites, my bookstore shifts. I was building, not chasing. One Sunday, Ethan texted, coffee, 9 p.m., I got a table. I smiled. No pressure, no comparisons. Just friends who saw me. I walked to the shop, city lights bright. Columbia was hard, but I was harder. I'd aced midterms, joined a policy club, started a blog. My voice mattered. I thought about Nashville sometimes. The White House, Mom's cold stares, Rachel's smirks. They weren't my story anymore. Clara and Henry were. Their love, their Audi, their trust, they gave me wings. I called them weekly, sharing dorm tales, bookstore quirks. We're proud, Henry said. Clara added, you're home. My dorm wall had new photos, Leah and Ethan, me in my Columbia hoodie, Clara's daisies. No old family pics. I didn't need them. I'd let go, not to heal, but to live. Family wasn't blood, it was love without strings. I found that with Clara, Henry, Leah, Ethan. Happiness wasn't their approval, it was choosing me. I closed my laptop, grabbed my jacket. Ethan waited, coffee steaming. The city hummed outside, alive, mine. I wasn't perfect, but I was enough. Nashville was a chapter closed. New York was my book, and I was writing it. Every step, every laugh, every dream was Jennifer's, built by me, for me. I'd never look back, only forward, where my light shone brightest.